She's overpowered. And you so, so. This is That's great. More important things. School. I want to call. It's called. Oh. Were you? He's an old teacher. We're so welcome. Thanks for being our next hearing for Wednesday, July 17th at 4 o'clock. If we can review, if you could please raise your hands. Your right hand, do you swear in front of the testimony you are about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I did. Thank you. And let's do roll call. Commissioner Van Dyke. Brown. Here. Commissioner Jones. Here. Or actually, I guess that's on me. I'm going over the meeting format. This is a public forum. Wishing to address the commission on matters not on the posted agenda are invited to do so. However, the commission is not able to undertake extended discussion or act. Does anyone wishes to address the commission? Is there anyone address the commission on a non-agenda? All agenda. Yeah, great, super. Next to meeting minutes from our. Can I have a motion to approve the meeting? Second. All of those in favor? Okay. Let's go. Okay. See, moving forward, actually, there are 6, there's 0. On Westwood Avenue. This is a request for action for temporary art, and it's the annual painting of the Silver Spring mural. North Alliance proposing to install a temporary mural. Place an approximately 200-foot long clay foot tall mural where residents' yards will demonstrate live muraling. 1 to 2 artists at a time will spend weekend live painting a previously allocated portion of the mural. In the town weeks of out. And the packet includes the ignite of the artists as well as the markup. Staff analysis is 31 that's 35, saying the commission should be guided by preserving the public productivity, maintenance of the proper aesthetic values, providing and maintaining building orderly balance of location and design and artwork, and the prevention of light deterioration in and around public buildings and works of art. Summary is the proposal generally includes code related to recommendations by the commission and city code section 31 termination by. Oh, go ahead. Yes, our applicant. Would you please state your name? Rachel Penguin. Great. And then can you please raise your right hand and
Or the testimony or back to the situation.
The fifth iteration of the Summer Spring Mural Project, right in the heart of the Short North. It started during COVID as a way to fill and activate an empty space, a somewhat blighted space in the neighborhood, as well as to engage the community and local artists in an art project during the time when we really needed and that moment for expression. And it was so successful that we've continued it every summer since then with artists, sometimes some returning artists, as well as new artists joining the cohort, and evolved it to also include a gallery portion where artists get a chance to exhibit and other works as well as demonstrate their skills live at the mural wall.
The third year meeting.
The gallery. So the gallery third year. Yes, that's right. So we had a really stellar pool of applicants this year. I think we had about 26 artists apply. We've selected 9 as well as an artist curator who's going to help us bring some cohesion and theme to the mural, as well as help curate the exhibit space and make sure that the gallery is functioning and that artists have a positive experience there as well. So the goal is to paint over the current murals, replace and repair boards as needed on that mural wall, which is holding up really nicely this year. In years past, we've had panels fall down and things need, part of the wall blew over a couple of years ago. I think we've landed on a really nice, and from an engineering perspective, system that's working really well. We just replace a couple of panels, we'll prime over the existing murals, and then our artists are going to start painting as soon as July 13th.
Really don't have any questions because you have successfully done this for 5 years now.
Exactly.
And if anything, thank you, right? Because we don't have a lot of spaces and places that are just for this, right? Opportunity. That's really like the heart of what this is. And, this is great. Thank you.
I know the last time we had this conversation was around making sure like the homeless weren't like setting up camp and the structure.
In the space, yeah, the space behind the wall.
Right.
It tends to collect a lot of debris and trash just in general, but also I think there's some people who shelter in that space. We have a team of Short North ambassadors who will be visiting the wall daily during the summer spray time block to make sure that it's staying clean. They're also trained in de-escalation and outreach so that they can make contact with folks who need sheltering there and services they need, as well as connect them to Southeast Healthcare and then team of outreach workers as well. For the first time last year. Yep. It turned out to be a really vital link in the program from us who know how to administer things, but don't necessarily have those curatorial skills to help encourage and mentor or just facilitate connection between the cohort of artists. And we found that it made it an even more powerful experience for them and for us.
In terms of program.
That is the primary programming, although we have strategically aligned the mural painting to align with gallery hop events that are already happening in the district 3 times throughout that time period. And so we're going to kick off on July 6th with opening our gallery, inviting the community in to see the artists, meet the artists, see their work, and get an invite to come and see them at the wall when they're painting later in the summer. And then we'll have a moment again at the August gallery hop, and then we'll conclude with Hops on High, which is going to be a really big focus. September 7th, that'll be the last weekend of painting the mural, as well as, a vendor market on the streets in and around the area where the gallery is located to really punctuate the end of it and give artists that exposure moment. So,
For you.
I'm the deputy director at the Short North Alliance, and so I wear a lot of hats. I cover a lot of things operationally, do a lot of data, work with a lot of vendors, but one of the really special parts of my role is getting to facilitate public art opportunities. So really bringing together artists and private property owners or community members to come together.
You're basically though.
Yeah.
Because I was looking on their website, like,
Okay. Thanks, Lynn. I think before you before she left the organization in February, which is when I joined, so it's just in
I
that,
don't know.
yeah.
You know, little,
Mhm.
little.
Any other?
No questions. I'm all the way in.
What should we make the motion? So the motion is to approve this for a 6 year. All this approved? Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well. Hopefully I'll be back to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Way 24, 0, 0. The request for action for the installation. The company is proposing to install a 50-foot long by 12-foot tall mural on a blank wall in front of the parking garage. Large wall was constructed with the intention of it housing public art. And ideally, Donald O'Keefe produced the artwork. O'Keefe is an abstract painter whose work explores a horror of figurative historical context. And then the for his large-scale microscopic patterns and vibrant hues, which he uses to reflect the image. It includes the additional background information on the artist, as well as a staff analysis for this is City Code Section 3115.75, same as our last application. And the proposal generally is covered related to determinations by the commission. And the basis for this is that it's a come up to the table. You want to go through?
John?
It's your name.
My name is Dan Gore, and I'm here on behalf of.
Have you need to raise your right hand first, and do you swear and affirm that testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing?
Thank you for having us. So we're here, we were personally conducting our commission in we would just go back a little bit to provide some context and then walk everybody up to present day.
And Dan, we must have changed the slide.
Perfect, thank you. I should mention too that I have one of our teammates from the city with us. Here to talk about any questions that might come up as it relates to Raj. And then the artist, Mr. Abuda, is also tuning in via YouTube and texting me and happy to answer any questions that you have. So very excited to be here. This has been a long time in the making for us. And at our very first presentation back 2 years ago, we had been it's very exciting for me.
If we go forward,
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was
state
the
your
top
name.
truth. I'm Steve Friend with the Seedlings.
Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Right? And I'm sorry, I assumed you were speaking on a different part. So, yeah.
I just had a text message from the artist. He's been wondering if there's another way to.
it's the city of Columbus's YouTube. I don't know what. It's just the city, it goes to the city of Columbus YouTube.
That link that I sent for the- hopefully we can find send a everybody to this side deck and try to stay ahead of you. Provide some context. This is a rendering that we created several years ago that helped us really envision the grand scheme for the neighborhood of the lower.com field. And one of you is a 2.5 acre park constructed along the riverfront. That park has in fact been completed now. So we really that new pedestrian bridge that links people. Nice. So what's very cool about game days, people will literally come from every, which gets heavy use by cyclists, walkers, and runners throughout. What you see on the, let's see, to the bottom of, to the right of the page, the south edge is a new office building, which has been constructed and is going to be occupied by BDI Logistics. They're currently building out their space. The shell of that building has been completed. You see the city constructed parking garage. We have 680 plus parking spaces in that parking garage. And then the future 2 phases of residential development, which will be 400 apartments, of which 88 will be affordable housing. So the future plan as we work through the part, which is rendering that. So
It's nice and blue.
yeah, pretty much says that. And, I've noticed the same thing. Here's a rendering of the office building. Go to the next slide and you can see the real thing. Turning out. Building was inspired by a couple things. One is the angular architecture of the stadium, and 2, river, the way water kind of moves and flows and ripples channel. And so the designs for the residential project, again, playing off these angles, looking at a more international style, bringing something new to Columbus, something more than red brick buildings, but really trying to think like larger context. Garage, really, I think it's one of the nicest public parking structures in the Midwest. Great job, I think, of working in collaboration with our team. They got our design architects involved, and we really created some beautiful canvas. And the wall in front, in the foreground here, is the wall we're proposing for the Syracuse. There are a couple of trees there on the left side that we're removing, just so frame that wall with a landscape, but not up. Some diagram just illustrates the plan that we brought to the commission 3 years ago. It shows the first phase of our public art program, which was the A, and then area, our 2 CSX bridges. Next slide. Next, there we go. Sorry. Yep. So we commissioned Alex Dodge on those bridges, and the goal was to bring both internationally acclaimed artists, nationally acclaimed artists, and Ohio-based artists, and then to celebrate all of that with local artists as well, and to really try to elevate the experience for guests, for the public, and for the artists who all participate in the moving forward. two bridges that was painted. This was Alex is a very interesting time between Brooklyn and Chelsea. Very excited with how this turned out. We just cleaned a little bit of graffiti off. We did put a graffiti coating on it based on your recommendation, and it worked great. So we're very happy with how that worked. Yeah, in fact, what's great is that the artists or the graffitiists that tag it didn't tag the artwork, they tagged like just other dark painted sides, which is really pretty much what we typically experience. It's really rare people damage
Yeah, they
artwork, but
seem to try to respect the part of it. Don't help.
they can't, right. They'll tag me the next. But, yeah, the artwork's great. The next artist that we brought to the commission was Karen Stomper. Karen is also an Ohio-based artist, and I read told her some dynamic forms. She was very active. This work also inspired by the location and then her own interpretation and reflection of what she sees in this place. See remnants of this trestle bridge, which are turned kind of vertically, soccer ball, some pattern making that is a little bit of a reference to the crew, maybe. A lot of the flora and the vines and things that she was seeing in the landscape. This looks like a kayak. But if you go to the next slide, you can see how she designed it with 4 panels, and each panel was intended to fold. I have actually some pictures taken just this morning. It's what is currently being installed, and it turned out really pretty. Yes, it's been a long time in the making, but what's cool about it too is the way that when it's folded, it's working just as she had intended. So
Right.
your eye starts to complete some of these different forms. So it turned out very pretty. And so that piece is actually going to be in the courtyard of the residential property once it's completed, but right now it faces 6th Avenue and that. Pretty happy about that.
So we'll be closed off for right now. Public can see it.
So the next slide. Just the diagram. And then just yet, oh, yep, he is listening, but does not have participant access.
Unfortunately, he would not be able to participate. Listen, but can't.
Fair enough. I know he would otherwise really enjoy being here. I'll choose you, but if you go to the next slide, this slide goes back to some of the reasons why we had red candidate. It started with really looking at a large group of approximately 12 journalists. We narrowed that down to about 4, and then we really kind of dove deep into one, and it really became obvious to us for all kinds of great reasons. Not only just looking at the beautiful artwork that it creates and the vibrant expression, but you know, it's just public art expertise. He's working now around the world. A lot of it that was submitted in the application for national, but I know that he's working in Europe and around the world, and I'm really embarrassed to be presenting your work ideally. So I'll do my best, but he also has a local connection. I know that he was born in Nigeria and moved here with his family. Columbus, went to Ohio State University and is now what's out. virtually identifies with large universal themes, and draws inspiration from, I think, international sources and it's like experiences, and it was feel like that's fit with soccer and the neighborhood and what we do. And then I think lastly, it's also a soccer thing. It's fun. His biography. Go to the next slide. All of these pieces. And score. This slide here shows the site and from a couple of different area views. And we'll give these proposal for the site.
And the black and yellow are for the crew, right? They're not doorways.
So I do have, I'll read this. It really provided us the artwork slash installation is titled "Fives of a combination of the Columbus Crew team colors, yellow and black, the section on 4 areas of interactive color play. The 42 colors included in the installation were selected for the contrast and as much as how they complement the basic frame of true moving from dark to light or black. B2, I know that the Hazel family is sponsoring an exhibition of Mr. Rodriguez's work and during MLS also. We all start them, which is the end of July. Quickly, but one of the factors that has influenced our timing on this is the Columbus Crew pursued a grant from GCAC, like $1,000 towards public art. As part of the application, the crew submitted Mr. Brown's references for what they would like to use that grant money for, and they were awarded the grant immediately before that as well. So all that got wrapped up over the winter, and then we entered into conversations with Mr. Avita Gallery, one of the galleries that and literally flipped it into the deck, I think 2 weeks ago with Sophie's help. So it's been quickly, but we're here today. We would like mobilization on this. Others here that are need to be created as well. It's actually so yeah, we're excited to have this.
Except you're covering that completely go to, is that they're painted with experience?
Probably use 2 coats. That's
Yeah.
covered a little better.
Yeah, the yellow is gonna probably be very cool.
Yellow. Budget exceeds the $150,000 that was granted to the crew, and so the balance.
Venture's doing the maintenance. Do you have a time frame on that amount of time you're doing maintenance?
Yeah, so we have a an agreement with the city of Columbus to provide maintenance ongoingly. So not only for the murals, but the streetscape and the surrounding areas. We worked out quite a sure that everything is covered. So.
To me, so is this making a collection work? Okay, and then how do people like get to know what artists they look like?
That's a great question. So we have talked in the past and were asked by the commission to create a placard of some sort. We would very much like to do that. And I think installing the placard either on or near the site. Alex Dodge, who painted the bridges, he actually we'd be happy to put, a placard up if we can. But we'll do that for Karen's work as well.
Right, it was a QR code,
Yes.
and then you put all the info there.
Hi, Barb. When this is finished,
That's a great question. So, we would see the artwork. Second, and continue. When we anticipate be able to turn on 7.
Ask also about the kind of the vision, larger vision, right, for WS today. Do you envision addition artworks on the site, or is this kind of?
I don't think it concludes the project, so, we're very committed to arts in Columbus in general. We see this as the all of the art. And so I think the majority of the art will be more interior, but there's still talk of a number of pieces both and around the Crew Stadium. Rather serious talks about that as soon as the residential phases. That sculpture. Great. Hopefully would be pretty.
So great.
That would be our goal. With this.
I'm kind of curious about, did you have to go?
Yeah,
We did go before the commission for the art commission.
I'm new, I'm asking.
It was kind of in the in-between as to whether or not we needed to or not, but because it's part of our grander plan, we thought it'd be appropriate. I think when you see all these pieces together too, they all have, they do, yeah. And that was the goal. We wanted, there's just a lot of challenges in the world right now. We wanted to bring art that was fun and inspired, that colorful and vibrant and inclusive and diverse and rich. And I think all of these pieces really contribute to that. And the rest of the art that falls in around it will follow suit. So,
Yellow belts.
yeah.
I have a question.
Here Southford mural as well. Now that mural is part of the building. It's got a structure that frames it in those large mesh panels. If one of those panels is actually damaged, then I think the city would repair it. But if it's think about that.
My question goes to the ownership of the city owns it.
City-owned
Yeah,
building.
like if it's like going.
Is this,
Yeah, do we need to put that in our?
I mean, it's part of the structure. It's not like a removable panel that would go in. Has there been any discussion about ownership of the piece?
Great question. I might need to get back.
Have conversations moving forward.
It's a city-owned parking garage.
Right.
And I believe, you know,
It feels like it would go in our collection.
It'd be
Yeah.
hard to take,
I think that's.
I think it does.
we'll have conversations after this about that.
That's an answer to this weird,
No, this is something separate.
The developers
Like that,
will make
well,
it.
like, I know.
No, that doesn't affect anything.
motion, make a motion for. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
again.
Very excited.
Yeah, so will they be on site for the?
Yeah, we can make them-
He'll be here the week of the 21st. So,
Feels
yeah,
kind of like a celebrity.
Yeah.
Show up.
wonderful. I'll make arrangements for that.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Absolutely.
I exhibited work by his dad, actually, at Urban Art Space a few years. I was a professor in the permanent history of art at MSU, and, I'm part of MSU.
Very exciting.
It's a small world. That is great. I can't wait to make you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
You are doing. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We'll give you your timelines.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Well.
I'm sworn in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm.
I don't want to talk about anybody.
COA 000. Proposed by. It's located on a small green space owned by the city of Columbus. Over the years, it was expanded and now on this goes to proposal 2, 3, and 1. In response to commission feedback from the February 2024 conceptual review, staff determined street connection. However, staff is currently exploring the possibility of adding a plaque name. There is an example of the text that could be placed on the original site will also continue to be enhanced and improved, but with the trailheads and record lots. The last review by the commission, council approved $90,551. The proposed location for monument has been chosen. After extensive research, it was determined that no additional names will be added to the monument. The Trails Group received a grant for $7,500 to move the monument Planning is coordinating with Recon Parks, Home Realtors, and the contractor to spend this money on an access wall. Contract states the monument flagpole should be notified October 1st. And get to propose location harmony on that. Proposal was unanimously recommended for approval by the Northland Area Commission on June 2nd. Related to determinations by the commission, and the basis for this is
Okay. Oh, my thunder. Okay. Not what the applicant's feeling. All right, so, to give a quick review perhaps, real quick, as you know, this was built in 1919, it's hit in 2019, the city repaired it, it's hit again in 2021. And, you know, we were unsure whether we should keep it at its current location or if we could move it. But when we got feedback from the Veterans Memorial and the AMVETS and the Ohio State, the state of Ohio, VFW, that, you know, they said it wasn't in a good location for coordinating events, conducting events. It was just, there's too much heavy traffic, it's loud, it's unpleasant, it's unsafe. We realized that, you know, we decided it was probably the best thing to move it at this point. And of course, we want to keep it in the community. We don't want to take it out of the community. And so we're going to be placing it in North Linden Park. With your approval. And it will also, we will also be moving the flagpole with it as well. So it's all going to be moving over. We have had updates, as Sophie said. We have $90,000 approved by council. It'll be located in the south entrance of Linden Park. There's no additional names. And work with them. I've gone to like 3 of their meetings to discuss this project with them. And they are going to be working with Recon Parks on future disposition of the current location. The Columbus Realtor has fairly some funding that perhaps they could do for beautification of the site. Dr. Jai, who will be working as well. We've been kicking around some ideas of, you know, perhaps the best thing at this point is some like enhance just to beautify the site. We also, Dump it, they slow
They
down.
can slow down.
Exactly. We are gonna be leaving the footprint of the old monument. We're not gonna cover that up. So I think that's kind of like a nice little, almost like a relic of that over there. And, we looked into the Ohio History Connection based off of their comments about, site assignment, but they said it didn't qualify for one. So we're looking into perhaps doing a
I don't know, I don't understand it either.
Yeah, why did it not qualify?
Crazy.
Because Sophie did the research and then, but apparently it just didn't rise to their standards. It was a memorial and removing it. They didn't think that it.
Well, that's not what we were asking to be the historical marker, right? Like the historical marker is for the significance of that being town
Right.
hall, center of Linden's town. Oh, to pay homage to the spot.
Got it.
That makes- Okay, now that makes more sense.
Yeah, got it.
But, okay, but there's different historical, types of, like, there's different historical recognitions, right? So we don't qualify for historical marker, but maybe you could get a Columbus Landmarks designation, or maybe you could get a, recognition on a smaller scale, just to recognize, since you guys are leaving the land blank right there, maybe there's something that can go on top of it, so people don't understand why it's blank.
Well, yeah, so for one
Did
thing,
that area commission have that up?
unless,
They could. Like the Linden Area Commission could deem it significant, right? And partner with Columbus Landmarks to put something there. But I don't know, I still think it's something, it's still historical.
well,
Yeah,
we were
absolutely.
gonna put a plaque.
I
Okay,
don't know if that, if you've heard that or not.
like the city put the plaque?
We're looking at putting a plaque and, you know, we wrote something up, something like the Lyndon Moore Memorial that is currently located in Linden Park was originally located here in the former Village Heights, Linden Heights Village Square from 1919 to 2024. It was the focal point of Memorial Day and Veterans Day parades and many celebrations. It was moved due to traffic delays and safety concerns. Like, that's just, we just do that
Yeah,
together,
I
but
didn't know the fact was happening either,
I
so.
didn't-
oh, yeah, no, it's fine. So we are gonna look into putting a plaque there, you know, near where the monument was. And so if we have it, you know, we have the plaque, we have landscaping that's maintained by the Health and Safety Committee. I'll work with Dr. Ajayi, you know, I like the idea of having Columbus landmarks or something, work with them, CBP, been attending the
Right.
meeting that she was involved. So we just wanted to address your concern that it was just being about the lane. But I do think, are you okay with just some sort of a plaque? that-
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
I'm thinking that, you know, it's next year's, as part of next year's like maintenance budget or something, or something, I don't think we do that, but something that will be a plaque that indicate.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Okay, excellent.
It still doesn't address the fact that this is a Walker community. So even though park to look at this, there's a school that kids walk there. I walk in this place with my dog. The community is changing, so the marker is great. The excuse that OHC is giving for this is very lackluster. And it really is graphic and not what is current. Just that. We can't, you don't have to, you know, because
I love starting stuff with shit up. So, I wanna.
Let's get it.
just as a point.
Stay historic preservation office knows me,
That's
so
great.
we can definitely.
I love what we're doing. Things, because that's what we do. But these agencies who are charged with this mission to make sure that we are curating, that they are curating the history of the city. Actually, OHC is responsible for the state, the history of the state, and you don't quantify this as that. Your rubric is really damaged and it needs to be read.
There's one by the church.
Correct.
References the cemetery. but
Correct.
You guys have another one. We will follow up with that. We'll see what happens, but in the meantime, we'll do something.
Yeah.
Platters.
That sounds good, that as long as the city's recognizing it first, then you have other, I mean, I've gone around Bishop Oak before with like Columbus landmarks and stuff. That's just as much. But, yeah.
Okay. Columbus Realtors Group, I think I mentioned last time, we received a grant of 7.5 thousand to move the monument and beautify the proposed site. We're coordinating, with them and Rec and Parks and the contractor we're thinking that the best way of spending that money would be some sort of an access way, ADA compliant access way to the site. We'll get into that. And the contract states that the monument should be moved by October 1st, 20. So it, yes, so I will show you here, some of the. It's very similar to the 2019 damage, just this side, it's sort of even more extensive damage is what it looks like now. This is the site, so we worked with AMVETS and we constantly kept in contact with our veterans groups contacts at the VFW, at the state of Ohio, AMVETS. We shared all this information. This was application based off of feedback from the commission that we all thought made the most sense. Apparently people drive their cars through here, so we want to stay as far as
Possible, driving their cars through all sorts of.
We don't.
so. So we had this as the proposed site. We did a site visit with Rec and Parks. And this scale, so we made a model for us and we scaled it to size. So that's it with all of the dimensions. We do have a culvert back here. So we buffered that based off of the Rec and Parks one. I put in this walkway kind of as a first idea, but I think we changed that to more of just like a almost like a wedge safe, something that would come in here and kind of open up, provide easier access, be less work with it, and just be more functional. So we're still figuring that out. But I mean, that'll be moving forward. This is the site where it is now. You can see the site visit. That's pretty nice.
If the, pond flooded, would it go under?
No, it should not, no. Have to look, but I don't, we looked at all there was nothing about it flood. I don't think that should. Be. So you can just kind of see what the, fire.
What?
We're literally.
I don't know. I didn't know that there could be serene.
That's Cleveland.
Go into the net.
Oh, we there?
Yeah, you have to go into the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, it used to be the baseball fields, and then they fixed this up recently.
Where the house is at? Oh, Briar, okay, I know where you're at.
So we have Loretta and Hamilton, Hamilton, Broward.
And those houses really are very nice.
So it'll be. What else did we do? So we did do research. One of the things that we were looking into was, any service action that we would add to monument. We had, set aside money for that as well, around $2,500. We did a lot of research. We thought we could just get like a list, but that didn't exist. Found out was that 21 service members have been killed in the city of Columbus. From the city of Columbus have been killed in action since the Vietnam War, but none were from women. So there will be no additional means to add. So with that being said, we're going to push that money, move it around, hopefully to site sidewalk and the access.
I think that little, how you guys have that little, plan to put it in the park, it would feel good. Like if it felt like part of the sidewalk.
That's what I didn't want to bring because we keep changing the design.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we're thinking it was almost kind of like a. So that we have access and people can. So that was the research we did and we sent it. So with all that being said, we had support from the Linden Health and Safety Committee. We had again in the Area Commission, and what we are here just looking for.
Inspection site. Hi.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So one.
Yeah.
Is to the way that we're storing our,
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's makes sense.
I like so we have it on interactive. We're trying to add a search function here as well, so it's a bit easy. But if you want to click on the map.
So,
Yes.
Or you can click on one of these on the side, see. See what's in the. it just seemed a lot more user friendly than what we had previously, and
Mhm.
it allows it all to be seen on the map.
Can you pull back a little bit? There's like 5 articles in one part.
Yeah, there we go. You see that?
All right, let's go.
Thank-
That.
Yes, something.
Developer.
Yes.
This one,
To type it in, but I'm not gonna be able to type close.
it's also on the,
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. Thank you.
I'm gonna take the oldest as well. For the, I don't know if you've all seen the downtown restaurants. The
Yeah,
artists
they look
are-
great.
So the artists that were chosen was, in my opinion, Daniel Rona and Asa Compton. And they're all up, and they look great.
Yeah, they're all posting. and-
They will look good.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good.
Oh, Nick.
I know, sweeping it up.
Great.
So good. Between him and Dane Todd.
So, just my update is that, out of the struggles of the past, we're going to the future. I can't remember that last meeting I went and I talked to the area commission. Sorry. That's moving along slowly right now. It'll start picking up here quickly as the wind wraps up.
That you'll be able to come up with the same amount, like the same kind of process and budget for the gate of no return as you did for the Lyndon War Memorial.
For the out of the struggles of the past.
Well, the community calls it the gate of no return,
Oh, do they?
but I guess the formal name for it is out of the
Out of the struggles of the past.
Past.
Really good.
Okay. But if you hear like an elder talk about that statue,
They call it.
they call it the gate of no return. So
Oh,
now, yeah, so,
You could put on
I'm
the
curious.
AKA.
I'm curious, do you think that there would be like the same kind of situation? Memorial where you've been very intentional about moving it to somewhere it should go and finding, look at him sweating, finding budget.
No, no.
And, you know, I just wonder if it would go as smoothly as this Lyndon War Memorial has gone.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully, I anticipate that we will have more community outreach engagement, and I would imagine a larger budget for this project.
Yeah, it's a much larger.
This is, well, not just that it's a larger piece, but I would imagine that this one isn't gonna be, it's not gonna be handled entirely in-house like we have the Lyndon Moore Memorial. This one's a bit more complex. You know, you might be dealing with welders, movers, site designers, site planners. There might be a new base at the new location, stuff that like when we were looking into it, it just started to get a bit too complex.
Yep.
So we assumed that we'd probably get a consultant.
Yeah,
And then just based on the piece, 2 weeks ago, we were doing site visits, looking at potential locations with Brecken Parks. We anticipate that this is probably gonna be a larger project.
I don't know how it's gonna fit in.
there's no way. Right, are y'all really thinking that will happen?
So we went there and we drew a tape measure out on the
It doesn't
ground.
fit.
We were like, well, it's, I mean,
It would be.
No one else can.
It would be the entirety of that little quarter mile.
it could, well,
It would
right.
have the hope, everything, I mean, it could be compelling though. I mean, if you.
Amazing.
It was more impressive on it.
It was so impressive there, but you're not doing anything else there but watch, looking at.
It's gonna be all about that statue.
It depends where you put it. I mean, so there's the walkway and then there is space behind it.
That's true.
So it's very long, but it's not a very deep.
No.
So it could go behind the walkway, theoretically. But I'm talking at it, we still.
Like, parallel with the street.
Yeah,
I could do that.
yeah. I mean,
That would, yeah, that would be interesting because now little cars stay on the road.
And the next one,
Gets hit by a car,
I can't even.
I'll be done.
Okay,
We'll put in some bollards.
yeah,
Like,
that project would be very interesting to see how to do it. I just would like to say, with being a part of the community and all the many facets that are happening right now, getting talking is probably amazing for that. And I don't know, I think Bronzeville Park is gonna be challenging.
Mhm.
And I think that Poindexter Park, it doesn't go.
Mhm.
So it's like, there is there is a situation here where you're gonna have to probably engage the community, consult the elders, have a planner come in,
Oh, yeah.
do an assessment. But I did wanna plant a seed, maybe, but I know that, there's a lot of stuff going in and around over there anyway with the development. But maybe bringing in, some of the same planners that are working on with the developers, like I know the RIM Collaborative and some of those planning, consultants are already planning in our neighborhood around bike trails and, um, like food co-ops, they partner, just, so I think that staying close to maybe some of those people who have a pulse on the community can be helpful too. And, yeah, and then the thing I want to leave with today also, it was like, you guys have to talk to Tony West. You have to talk to Tony West. He has been doing libation on that thing for decades. And
Like what thing?
on the actual statue. I witnessed it at Juneteenth this weekend.
The struggles of.
Yes, yes. They start at the gate.
A libation.
It's a libation. And they start at the gate of no return. And it's libation. And they do the drum call. And they drum and walk all the way down Mount Vernon to Main.
A libation and that you are remembering your ancestral lineage. All to that spirit. There's a water into a plant that represents some things. And so he's been doing that since I was in elementary school. Like he's been doing that when they first put the.
Starting at the sculpture.
Yeah,
Starting at the sculpture.
and he
Are
has
there
a
any-
history of it.
Are there any other events that take place with the sculpture?
Not that I'm aware of.
So here's something that's important to know about that community, particularly when it comes to like the elders that are still kind of there. There's something called the Towie Village, Family
Yeah.
Village. The Towie Family Village is kind of sprinkled in among all the other, community organizations and stuff. A little bit here, a little bit MAG, a little bit, they're everywhere. And they make up what is the community members who were born here, raised here, always been here. And so one of the members of that group or I should say the couple, is Tony and Aziza West. Tony and Aziza West are very well-known African dance, enthusiasts. They go to high schools all around the city and do this, right? And he has been the culture keeper for that community in a way where I know, I host the annual drum circle. I can't do that without Tony West, right? And he just brings he brings our history with him. He reminds us of different things that have happened, and he just is the culture keeper. So he's reminded me of what the statue is, how it was, and I had told him, I said, oh, because I think I called it something. I said, oh, the statue is, I called it, he said, the gate of no return. That's the gate of no return. And he began to explain to me why it's so significant to us, what we've been doing to keep to preserve its spirit for the last 2 decades. And what I learned in that moment, I don't think I was mentioning it to them when I got here, it's like, when you hear about something, once you leave, everything floods in for you to hear more about it. So I feel like you introduced it, I think in the last month, everything, because of Juneteenth, it's been coming up. I think like the statue has been brought up. We started the libation there last, and I've been a planner of Juneteenth for the last 3 years and didn't realize we had started libation in the last 3 years because I'm always a chicken with my head cut off. And but it started to hit me that I was starting to pay attention, and I was like, okay, I need to let you guys know. Tony West, that crew, getting with them, consultants already working with the neighborhood. There's going to be probably a bigger kind of conversation that has to happen, just like they do with the food co-op right now. Like, we're all meeting about food. Uh,
Is that different than the group, I don't. That,
Oh, Brownsville Neighborhood Association, yeah, they have nothing to do
the.
with the Howie Family Village. Two separate things.
How do you spell that?
Howie, TAWI.
And
Yeah.
is that an organization?
It is, it's a nonprofit, it's like an LLC. Um,
Okay.
And they don't work together?
So
Are they factions?
there's history, like Howie Family Village has been around since before Jamal and I were born. Brownsville Neighborhood Association started like 8 years ago. It's all new for all of us. We're all just kind of jumping onto the Brownsville bandwagon because we want something, but it's new. We don't know what it is. I'm from that community. I've never heard of Brownsville.
Mhm.
So it's new. I think what Mr. Brown is doing, he's a great person to have in a conversation, but he's not the person to make the call. And what's happening with the city right now is he's being positioned, making several calls for the community. But the Towie Family Village and the James Pretzer Poindexter Foundation and other elder groups actually know the history, lived it, right? And would love to have, what does it look like to make sure that those things of the past are carried on.
In Lincoln before?
No, but Lincoln happened about 11 years ago
So
with
when
Mayor
happened?
Coleman.
Before Bronzeville? Because I thought it was Bronzeville.
So there was a community of Bronzevilles around the country, like Chicago had
Yes.
Bronzeville, all
Yes.
was in Bronzeville. My grandmother was raised, and I remember her laughing, saying, I don't know, we never have called it Bronzeville. It's just always been, if it wasn't the Blackberry Patch,
That's.
if it wasn't even like near East Side, it was just, it was, you live on Mount Vernon.
Well, at that time, we had communities. So if you were in that neighborhood, or if you're in that community, you could identify with something. You could say, I'm from Flytown, I'm from American Addition, I'm
Yeah.
from Poindexter Village, because we had communities here, right? But now that the freeways came through, all those communities are gone, we're called the Near East Side, because all of those communities kind of, whatever's left of it. And so what's happened is since the Near East Side is constantly evolving and changing, organizations and things have formed. And what we found out is that there was a time period, especially in the 30s, where a lot of predominantly Black neighborhoods were deeming themselves Bronzeville for the sake of identity.
Definitely.
And so there is proof that there's a section of Columbus that was named Bronzeville because it was printed in newspapers.
Yeah.
So even though we may not, as residents, like my grandmother may not have called it Brownsville, you can tell that that was an initiative that was an effort in the 30s. Now, whether we ever held on to it and paid any attention to it, so now that we have kind of a discernment for history. And I think that there's also been this kind of continuing Lincoln. Well, where'd that come from? And what is this? Yeah, and it came from Mayor Coleman's era,
Yeah.
when he took a huge initiative into our community to revitalize the Lincoln Theater, and he was sitting on the board, right? Like, so they called it the King Lincoln District, because those were our two pillar organizations in that community. But the truth, we've always had an identity crisis. And now, this move with statute, I think it has to involve the elders, because it has nothing to do with Bronzeville. It has nothing to do with any of these new organizations that are formed in our community. It has everything to do with
The history.
the history that were there. One back.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Once it's moved in place, could we actually was do a ceremony?
Better.
And film that so we can.
I think that he's gonna tell you that better happen.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, the Lyndon War Memorial, we're gonna do a rededication.
Oh,
And Vets is gonna provide their honor guard, and we're thinking like maybe around Veterans Day, World Veterans Day, so
that'll be.
there will be a rededication, something to be.
With
Yeah, I mean, we'll have all kinds of. Think about things, but yeah, I mean, we definitely Yeah, so for like the Linda Moore Memorial, we have signs ready to go. We can put signs up so when people are driving by, they'll see what's happening so that they don't think we're taking them. Definitely. With this,
Because you
it'll
don't
be-
know how to drive.
Look what y'all.
That you messed it up.
That's- But, yeah, there will be, I think more robust, especially because the more I learn about this, the more
It's very
it
unplanned.
seems like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also like, the color guard from, Columbus City School. That would be great.
Oh, and the
Have that
Linda.
attached in the Linda Memorial.
That's a good idea.
Well, so I was thinking about the color, so I was thinking about reaching out to see if anyone school paint. Is that what you're talking
To
about?
Linda McKinley, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but now is that what you're calling the color guard?
Yeah.
No, the color guard is actually, a guard,
Right.
flag guard
Yeah.
for military, yeah, and the high schools have them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like high school ROTC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Just so we can have a generational
Mhm.
element to this.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, we're running them a paper. I don't think anybody's been to that part.
Mhm.
We're bringing attention to the park, because I can't tell you that I've even been to that.
Oh.
I walk my dog over there.
I know you do.
I go, it's really busy and there's
Yeah.
people fishing, walking,
Mhm, They do, they stay now.
fishing, a lot of people fishing.
They do.
They get the fish.
I know Schiller, no, Schiller still stocks their park, so
They
if it's
do,
not, if
they
it's
do.
they're gonna stock all of them.
Who's eating that fish? Like,
Okay, that's, so, and
Yeah.
I'll be in touch.
But, you know,
And I would definitely lean on you and Jamal.
Okay.
Just to, get that kind. Besides that, the art appraisal took place. It should be done pretty soon. I think the report is almost done. We just have to do some invoicing and stuff, so. Park payments, we've chosen, to go find our restoration again in 2024. They had the most competitive bid, best proposal. Contract, and we should be good to go. Plus, almost July, yeah. To get all the pieces.
Great.
Then just to give you guys a quick update of where we're at, and so with the comp plan, we also reviewed my recommendation. The intent is still to bring that to you guys for a vote. It's value. And we will have it. If nothing else on the timeline by next meet, but we'll get to one of the time.
thank you. Any other questions?
second,
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
Can I ask you a question?